First on BBC One, Prince Andrew becomes part of Jimmy Savile's dream team.
ITV News has seen evidence of growing support for a change in the law on assisted dying.
Motorists caught in the crossfire, the Premier couldn't have cared less.
Any rules, any rules, Victoria Police won't hesitate to act.
Honking horns in a blockade of streets around Parliament Hill in the capital, Ottawa. The protest, dubbed the Freedom Convoy, began over a week ago.
There is no time now to be selfish. It's time to think of the broader community and your families. If you are actually spreading the virus, you could be responsible for people's deaths.
Ukraine is not only defending itself, but is defending Europe and the West in general.
Because if the war criminal Putin is successful in his illegal and immoral invasion of Ukraine, no country will be safe.
In this cruel, unjust war,
we united to protect Ukraine.
We united for justice, for democracy.
We united for security, for the future.
We are united for the sake of our children.
We united for the sake of our family.
We united to protect human rights, and not human rights alone.
We united for the entire democratic world's safety.
For freedom from tyranny.
We united to be able to dream.
This year could be decisive.
And it's up to us to decide that freedom must win.
Every donation is important. Every post, every mention,
every appeal, even this one, every action.
Each and every one of you.
Even the smallest effort can be vital.
Dear fellow Ukrainians, we will be standing with you together as long as it takes.
We will support you as long as necessary. Stay strong. We will always stand right next to you.
Because there is nothing more valuable than freedom.
You have our love, our respect, our support, and our gratitude.
I'm here for you.
You're not alone.
Know too that love and peace in time will always overcome darkness and hate.
Because we think of you and we know that we have to keep fighting for you.
We stand with Ukraine.
Standing with Ukraine.
We support you. We see that your struggle is the struggle for freedom around the world.
Always thinking of you.
Do not give up. You're incredible people.
I stand with the people of Ukraine and their quest for territorial integrity. Slava Ukraini.
Slava Ukraini.
Slava Ukraini.
Slava Ukraini.
Slava Ukraini.
Slava Ukraini.
Слава Україні!
Slava Ukraini.
Slava Ukraini.
Slava Ukraini.
Слава Україні! Героям слава!
The problem is that the UN agenda is the same with Davos agenda. This, in fact, is my main topic for our conversation today. For this reason, the world oligarchic system, they have the power on Europe because they control all the people like Bundeskanzler or president or prime minister or whatever there are. So for this reason, sorry to interrupt you, the situation with Donald Trump was a big shock.
They didn't expect that to happen. That was an accident, I suppose.
Absolutely an accident.
Not part of their game plan.
It was the first time of the oligarch system was happened an accident. Because normally you have to be Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
Not Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And the process which we are dealing now with this pandemic and all these liars was supposed to be in 2016.
They were pushed into
exactly,
early
in a
start.
sense to be in 2020 to be a disaster regarding food and water.
I see.
Which normally they want to arrive in 2025 now.
I see.
So the plan was a little bit changed, and for this reason, of course they will not succeed. This is clear. I mean, the system is almost down. It's of course there are the last moments, and we have to have the courage now, all of us, to say no, in a sense that UN could be a fantastic, can have a fantastic role, but is not, because it's totally under control of the oligarchs. The problem is that these oligarchs, all of them, are related with the system of the pedophilia one, because we know that there are more than 8 million children per year which they disappear. 8 million does mean the entire population of Austria. They disappear without any information, simply like that. And this is the transhumanism. So this criminal act is...
So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Marge Aaron Johnson. I'm a preacher, activist, and drag queen. I started preaching here in 2019, and I started preaching here in drag in 2021. Amen. And it is clear to me, and it is clear to the people in the neighborhood, that this is a church that is on the growing edge of Christianity. It is. The people of Fort Washington Collegiate Church have been described as the real deal Christians, okay? The ones engaged in love and service and justice. Not like the country club churches, the ones that wish that they could be us. No. Oh. Hey. I always deliver a spicy sermon when I'm in drag, you know? It gets better. We are a church of grace. We are a church of hospitality and kindness. We are a multiracial church. We are a multicultural church. And we are an open and affirming church. Amen? Amen.
ITV News has seen evidence of growing support for a change in the law on assisted dying. The campaign group Dignity in Dying conducted the largest ever survey of people's views, and it shared the results with us. And it'll increase the pressure on politicians to act. It found that 75% of people in Britain supported a change in the law on assisted suicide. And more than half said that they would consider travelling to Switzerland for an assisted death if they were terminally ill. Now, the poll also found a majority of support across all age groups and all constituencies. Those of Muslim faith are the only demographic opposed to assisted suicide. And in the first of a new series looking at the issues surrounded assisted dying, our UK editor Paul Brand heard the views of a terminal cancer patient and his close family.
Okay, Josie? I know.
Nick Brown's days are precious now, and yet he's given this one to us.
Luckily, you're very brave.
A lifetime working with horses will very soon come to an end. And Nick wants you to know it won't be the one he wishes for.
What are you doing then?
I love being with the kids and setting up the table and making sure that it's all nice, and somehow about the table I really love doing all of that up.
Hard choice, dishwasher stacking, making bed, both have a nice, satisfying ending.
If this were the real COVID-19, I would be in real trouble, because I have asthma.
And I have depression.
I have diabetes.
And I struggle with my weight. For us, COVID is a whole different ballgame.
In fact, you could be one of almost 200 million Americans with a high risk factor that makes COVID even riskier.
Which is why you need to be ready and have a plan. Other risk factors including heart disease or being inactive.
Even being over 50 or being a smoker can put you at serious risk.
Could that be you? Find out. Go to NoPlanGood.com and know your risk factors. Then make a plan.
Because if you get COVID on top of asthma, like I did, the last thing you want to do is wait and see. Be ready, have a plan. And ask your doctor about treatment options that may help.
I've seen some really creepy stuff, but nothing like this. There's a palm floating right in the middle of the air. It's not attached to wires or anything like that.
Watch. Nothing. Not a thing. Not a thing. You can't see it with the naked eye.
I'm Nicole Kidman, and I am going to eat a 4-course meal of bugs. I am here to reveal my hidden talent, eating micro livestock, cornworms. They're still alive. Extraordinary. Very moist, chewy. Can't quite describe the flavor, but need a little water. Let's try the second course, shall we? Just a little side note. 2 billion people in the world eat bugs, and I'm one of them. Because here we go. Have some mealworms. I'm telling you, I'd win Survivor. That is a fruity taste. I'd recommend it. Here we have. Oh, crickets. Oh, nothing. Oh, awesome. Like nothing you've ever tasted. Like a hairy nut. Don't. Oh my gosh. A nut from the shell. And now for dessert. The fried grasshopper. These are amazing. These are exquisite grasshoppers. I recommend them to anyone. Thank you for spending so much time with me and watching me eat bugs. Till next time.
GMOs and publicity, but it's all we had hanging around. Yum. Yum, yum, yum.
So it's all true.
It's amazing, the zero gravity. It just everything just floats around. Suck my hair because I got a ponytail. And Tooks brought some coral up from Vieques, from Puerto Rico.
Oh, very good. Yeah, let me see you push it up and down and around. Pull it back toward you. Oh, yeah, thanks. Yeah. Wow. Push it that way. Unbelievable.
Not bad, huh?
Where'd you get the 60 million a day?
This newly released footage shows the Dragonfire laser-directed energy weapon system in action, and it could be in the hands of military personnel in 5 years' time. It destroys targets with an intense beam of light and has pinpoint accuracy. It's able to hit something the size of a £1 coin from a kilometre away.
So we've been talking about the cost of firing a laser weapon to be £10 a shot. And really all we're talking about is the cost of the energy that you need to fire the laser weapon.
Yeah, I'm not very good at switching off at all, my phone or in general. The one thing I do love to do is go to football. I'm a big Spurs fan.
Here we go.
Just slid that in there perfectly, didn't I?
You knew the answer to that question, and that's why he asked it.
I know, but I mean, it's not the most relaxing thing watching Spurs, but at least I don't look at my phone most of the time.
Stay on the right side here.
Yeah, don't worry.
Do you think you've got that resilience? That's how you've managed to survive? Because politics, and it's getting, as we know, it's getting more and more dangerous. Have you inherited that from your mum, or because you've seen the way that she handled something so difficult?
Undoubtedly.
Yeah.
Undoubtedly. And I do have something in my head when I've got to do something difficult. I do think of my mum.
Yeah.
And think, if she can get through that operation, which should mean she'll never walk again, get back up, I can get through whatever I've got to do.
Yeah,
and so that courage, that resilience, that determination is there with me, and that undoubtedly comes from Mum.
What I'd like to do is to get on with a subject that you've been most involved in since you've done all these things that we've been discussing, and that is psychotronics. I'd like to show you a video clip on Soviet psychotronics and ask for your comment, and we'll take off into that area.
Okay.
But in the Soviet Union, a radio frequency, or RF device, has been used for over 30 years to manipulate the moods of mental patients. It's called a LIDA machine. It radiates pulses of radio frequency energy, as well as light, sound, and heat. The pulse rate is in the extremely low frequency range, between 0 and 100 pulses per second. Dr. Ross Adey is the top researcher at the Veterans Administration Hospital in Loma Linda, California. He has been investigating the effects of the LIDA machine.
Now, what do the Soviets use this machine for? Well, they don't use it anymore. We should be very clear that this is a machine which is regarded by them as somewhat obsolete technologically.
This scientist, who did not want his identity revealed, is employed by the U.S. government and has done secret RF weapons research. He believes that tests done with the LIDA and similar machines prove that humans are susceptible to remote alterations of mood and awareness.
Certain kinds of weak electromagnetic signals work exactly like drugs. And so the promise is that anything you can do with drugs, you could do with the right electromagnetic signals. Apparently, there are specific sites involved, specific functions involved. It's a matter of matching up, just like it is with a pill or a drug, to cause and effect. You could have a cause and effect relationship between a magnetic field and a biological function.
This sound, which is received by shortwave radios in the United States, is generated by another Soviet radio frequency device. It is known as the woodpecker because of its tapping noise. It is broadcast by a number of high-powered radio transmitters operating deep in the Soviet Union since July 4th, 1976. Though the official Defense Department explanation of the woodpecker is that it is an over-the-horizon radar designed to track U.S. missile launches, some scientists suspect that the woodpecker is designed to interfere with human brain function.
As far as I'm concerned, the potential that this has for producing a direct psychoactive effect upon the pro-American population is there, has never been disproven.
Dr. Robert Becker is a pioneer in the field of bioeffects of electromagnetism.
The signal range within which the woodpecker operates is that which has been reported by many investigators to produce a tranquilizing effect upon animals.
We are just incredibly sensitive to these magnetic stimuli.
Dr. Bob Beck, a PhD in nuclear engineering, has done extensive research into electromagnetic effects on humans.
The signal was permeating power grids in the United States. It was being picked up by power lines, re-radiated. It was coming into the homes on the light circuits.
Well, it was a little unclear, but I knew two of the gentlemen on there, Bob Beck and I think Becker was the other one. And basically, of course, they were talking about psychotronics. If I can translate in my words, psychotronics is the, let me pick these words very carefully, is the long range modification or manipulation of behavior by electronic, specifically radio means. In other words, you use electromagnetic energy, radio transmissions, to affect human behavior at a distance. In other words, what you're doing is that you are merging radio engineering and parapsychology. This is what I think the Soviets can do. This is something which we have not in the West looked at too carefully. What I think the Soviets can do, and this I think was the intent of this film clip, let me summarize what they can do and then in more detail about one or two of these facets. One, they can manipulate behavior at a distance. For example, they could create a riot, which you couldn't stop, in this auditorium, right out of that transmitter. What they would do specifically is that the name of the transmitter is not the one I know. I know it as the Gomel transmitter. He called it the woodpecker signal. But what they do, they broadcast the signal to create a riot. You broadcast 11 hertz, 11 cycles per second, beamed into this room. And it would, without you knowing, you would start to get uncomfortable, then upset, and then I presume start getting a little active, like throwing the plants around or breaking up chairs, things like that. You use specific, what are called radio frequency windows, 11 hertz will create that kind of behavior. Other frequencies, other windows will create other kinds of behavior. You can create a passive behavior. You can make people go to sleep. You can create narcotic effects. It has been used actually as an antidote, as a cure for narcotic addiction. You can make people alert. You can make them misconstrue, misunderstand things. Each has a specific, very precise frequency. We know what these frequencies are. We know the behavior modification that can be brought about. We know the Soviets are using it. Let me give you I'll give you three examples. One, the Moscow embassy in 1977, the State Department discovered that its employees were being zapped by what they call microwaves, that were really these transmissions, extremely low frequency transmissions. The ambassador, in fact, had heart problems as a result of it. And you can induce medical effects. You can induce heart attacks at a distance with certain frequencies. That's one example we know. The State Department then took the wrong approach. It's put screens on windows, but we know that copper and steel screening will not shield from alpha, extremely low frequency waves. There is another antidote, which we can get into later if you want. One, we know you can modify behavior through beaming radio waves on specific frequencies at a distance. We can do that.
How great a distance?
Well, the transmitter they're using is at Gomel. We know that that was beamed on Eugene, Oregon in the late 70s. They were picking up, I forget the cycles per second, I think it was about 9 hertz. And that was very intense at 3,000 feet. They got public health people picked up a number of, well, I think 20, 30, 40 cases of disorientation, headaches, nausea, that kind of thing, which you would get from that frequency. A more clear example is not Eugene, Oregon, although I'm fairly sure of that case, is the Canadian cases, Kirkland Lake and Timmins, Ontario, both bombarded by the Soviets. In this case, I'm in touch with a Canadian scientist who did the analysis for the Canadian government. There is no question in his mind that the Soviets bombarded Kirkland Lake and Timmins with a frequency which would create disorientation, headaches, and nausea, that kind of thing. So the distance, if you can if you can get a radio wave in there, you can get this effect in there. It's the frequency on which it operates.
The purpose of this was an experiment to prove what they could do and what they could do in wartime?
I think in the early 70s, this was experimentation. I think what they're doing today is not experimentation. If you look at the State Department, which as I see it, has not made one decision in our favor. Every decision is against us. If you look what happened in the Moscow embassy, if you get Schultz saying that counterintelligence is not productive, you know, these ridiculous statements, you begin to think that, okay, you can bring this about through psychoactive warfare, psychoactive manipulation using ELF waves, extremely low frequency waves. And that's what Robert Beck and the other gentleman were saying.
Do the Soviets select certain individuals in the United States, or do they take a picture of them and put it in a machine in the Soviet Union?
Field.
Or what do they do?
There's several different things here. Firstly, I cannot prove that the Soviets have done this, but what I do know is that the West Germans issued their diplomats with protective devices about 10 years ago. In fact, I have the circuit diagrams of these protective devices. The West Germans have recognized the problem. They have taken moves against it. The State Department in '78 was not recognizing the problem. I don't know if they've taken any moves against it. It looks as if they have not. Now this is where I am very, very disturbed, because in the West we don't think in terms of warfare, certainly not to achieve objectives. Well, at least most of us don't, except the elite. And I'm concerned that while the elite is out to control the world, the Russian given the Russian mind and the technology we've given them, is going to use this technology back against us in forms which we don't accept. And there's no question that our establishment engineers haven't until recently accepted behavioral modification through radio engineering. Now, both these gentlemen you noticed on here, they can talk.
In here. There we go. A few people walking in with pints. Young kids behind us. Yeah, with a big pint, no doubt. I hope everyone can hear us in the chat, okay? Let us know if you can or you can't. In fact, we might have to say hello again because I don't know whether that got picked up, to be fair. I'm sure we'll let us know if you can't hear us. Can you hear us and can you see us? Let us know, please. Anyway, let's moving on. So we were just talking. Who's been watching the World Cup? Yay! I haven't been watching it. We were talking about VAR, me and John just then a moment ago, and I remember, I remember talking about VAR emailing Richard Dion about 10 years ago when they were about bringing it in, and saying this is sort of like an interim thing to get people normalised with AI. And the decisions that are made by a court. We were talking about the Iran goal, which I have seen. Yeah.
Absolute farce. Yeah. I mean, the whole thing is bloody fixed as far as I can tell. I know that sounds like a really melodramatic statement, but there's lots and lots of things that are, registered in my head that make me think that all is not as it seems. And I'm sure some of you guys have all noticed things, the Portugal thing last night, it's just ridiculous. They got a very controversial penalty in the last minute to equalise against Croatia, and then they scored a winner a few minutes later in injury time, and then Croatia were denied what looked to me like a perfectly good goal. So was Portugal meant to go through to the next round to play Spain? We'll never know.
Something to do with Cristiano Ronaldo, I think, in there.
It could be. Yeah, it could be. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that was just one example. There's been lots of things. I mean, the draws themselves, I mean, look at America. They don't play anybody in the top 15 until they get to either the quarters or the semis. I can't remember which. Mexico playing all their games at home at altitude, which is a complete disadvantage to any other team. lots and lots of stuff, and FIFA are giving all this message about how they're trying to make it a level playing field. Absolute bollocks.
But that's the modern way, isn't it? That's going to be how they make decisions, rule decisions on people.
Yeah.
I would say the they, whether they are.
Yeah.
The they live.
Yeah.
It seems that way anyway. Just a chat we were having there.
Yeah.
One of the other chats we were having when that theme tune, when it was playing, and they were banging. You said to me, "Is that them banging pots and pans on the doorsteps in 2020?" What did your neighbour say to you?
Well, no, they didn't say anything. They just kind of blanked us because we didn't do it. They were, you could see that they were muttering when we went past, things like that. But yeah, we were outcasts because we didn't do all the pots and pan banging stuff.
I heard my neighbour say, "Next time out banging pots and
pan." So, welcome to the last of the summer Witch Piss 2. Who were here 6 weeks ago? Sad bastard.
I thought we were in room top spot.
Top spot, yeah.
Lots of punishment.
Well, tomorrow is really the main day, where we've got John, our mate here he's from Huddersfield as well, doing a talk on World War I and World War II. Yeah. Mark Devlin's coming up doing a talk. I forget what Mark's talk is about.
Music.
No, in music actually. It's something else. I think he's doing something else. I think it's James Bond. It might be James Bond. Or James Bond, one or two. So, and then we're obviously going to do a talk with our mate. Where's Matt? Matt Turgeon? Oh, he's there. I'm going to miss him. Yeah. We're going to do a talk. It's only going to last about half an hour, isn't it, Matt? It's only going to last half an hour, our talk.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got a few slides on a recent set of podcasts that we've been doing called Who is Yoko Ono, where we're sort of releasing aspects of her background, Matt's research over the last few years, and some new stuff as well that I dug out while Matt were giving me some clues, if you like, but some interesting stuff as well. Can you adjust the cameras, chaps? No.
Which camera is it?
I don't know. Oh, you're there. And you're there. Yeah. Yeah, it's that one up there. But anyway, can't do all about that one, I'm afraid. This is the first time I've tried doing it this way. I'm not gonna like them before. Anyway, I thought I'd put a few bits and bobs together about the weather, seeing as we've been battered, going back to how we're propagandised about certain things. The weather is something they are battering us around the heads with at the moment in time. And we did a bit of a podcast, we've done a few, haven't we, called The Wettest Drought Since Records Began, and what have you, where we worked out that the actual Met Office was started as a military operation in around about the mid-1800s, which is one of these new changes in society happened, didn't it?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, they say about the weather, it's the hottest day since records began. Yeah, well, they don't tell you that records only began in 1914, not 1419. So yeah, it's all subtle deception.
And that's the point, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because the amount of people that come to me and say, "How long were it last week? How hot were it?" And yeah, well, it won't warm the other week. They know this about. But it's not unprecedented, is it? It's not like warm days. I managed to top my tan up.
I top my tan.
The genetic tan.
I know I never mentioned, but I work in the kitchen. No, literally, I didn't even realise it was
really bloody hot day in Huddersfield when you two lads were born.
You can't say that, John! John's a fucking racist! That's a horrible thing I mentioned. Alright, I've noticed though, there's a certain age group, I'll probably mention this, but it's like youngsters. No, I reckon it's about late 30s to 40s plus. They'll actually say, obviously, because we go dark so quick, they'll go, "Fucking hell, you're brown," but anyone under that just looks at you and goes,
Oh, yeah.
They didn't say anything. And a guy at work, a young lad, he said that in college they're told not to ask people where they're from because it might offend them. I mean, in your average Polish, there's a Polish girl I work with, and she's, I reckon, late 20s. So she's not the old school generation of Polish. She's like a younger one. And she said, where? And I said, you asked me where I'm from, don't you? Because I've gone down. And she said, yeah, but I didn't really. I said, you're fucking Polish. You people are straight, you just ask me. She said, yeah, but I got told that you shouldn't ask you because it might get offended. So why did I get offended and asking where I'm from? It's ridiculous.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know about you guys. I mean, were you guys hearing stories from friends and stuff about how hot it was? They were warmer than ever. And I've got a couple of videos about how they changed the. Remember that BBC Verified video, Chris?
Yeah. I thought we're up in that.
Yeah, I've got that. Yeah. In fact, I've played this one before. This was the Yorkshire weather. So you have to excuse like this accent. Yeah, if you're not from Yorkshire. But if you remember, I called him a bow-legged, pigeon-toed, lying bastard. I think that's it.
On the heels of May's record-breaking weather, we've got another record-breaking heat wave which is about to hit. There's an extreme heat warning, an amber warning in place. This is a look at what the temperatures will look like tomorrow afternoon, as high as 33 degrees. That's 91 degrees Fahrenheit, probably peaking Wednesday and Thursday with some spots up to 34 or 35 degrees, and this will break the all-time June heat record.
All-time June lying bastard.
But aren't people going on holiday this time of year to get that weather?
Yeah. That's far too reasonable.
Also, I think the universe is fighting against these bastards because where I was, they were saying it's going to be 39 by Friday. It's going to go slowly to 39, and it pissed it down for 2 days. I do really believe the universe is doing the.
I do a talk on the climate change hoax, and one of the graphics that I show is a map of the British Isles with all the temperatures on all the different locations. One from the 1970s and one from the 2000s. And the 1970s one, it's got temperatures similar to what we've been having, like 28, 29, 30, and they're just normal yellow. But the one from the latest ones, they're only like in the mid-20s and they're all bright red. As though it's like, it's propagandizing our brains into thinking that, oh, that's too hot. It's bright red, so it must be terribly hot.
You've said where it's gone.
Nice
video.
Yeah.
I
just saw that.
It is so hot right now, but our weather forecasters exaggerating how hot it really is. Weather maps use colour scales to show how temperatures vary across the country. But social media posts seen millions of times wrongly claim that the dark reds used to show heat are misleading. They say that in the past, high temperatures weren't shown in such dramatic colours on TV, and that today's deep reds are designed to make temperatures look worse than they actually are. Now, it's true that many forecasters have changed the colours they use over time, but it's not to alarm anyone. For example, the Met Office and the BBC have updated their graphics for consistency or for better accessibility. So people who find it hard to distinguish colours, for instance, can read the forecast more fully. Higher temperatures are shown with progressively deeper reds, lower ones with deeper blues. And those colours match this temperature scale. So why do these weather maps sometimes look so extreme? Well, that's because temperatures are extreme. People may not be used to seeing dark reds because temperatures this high are unusual in the UK. The Met Office says 30 Celsius in May has happened only a handful of times since 1900, and Tuesday's provisional new record high of 35.1 Celsius, well, that's simply unprecedented in May in the UK. So the colours aren't exaggerating the heat, they're simply reflecting it.
So I found this guy online, Winston from Kingston. No, it was joking. I found this guy online who has his own weather channel, and he's a scientist, but he's speaking out about it. And very, very interesting videos he's putting out at this moment in time. This guy here, I don't know if you've seen him, John. He was talking about what the hottest days were in 1911. It's called Paul Burgess.
Right.
And he explains how they are actually collecting temperatures. Very interesting.
Well, hello everybody. This is a very quick video I wasn't supposed to make. And I'm going to blame a man from the Isle of Man called Julian Barton. Now yesterday it appeared on the Mike Graham show discussing the ridiculousness of the extreme temperature claims. And it already appeared actually for an hour or so on another show in the afternoon. And I thought, well, I've done my bit. But no, Julian kept pushing me with stuff, and looking at Gosport, the recent claim. They claim, by the way, in the Met Office, that it's 36.1 degrees centigrade at Gosport in the south of England there, and that is a June record. As if there's any meaning to that, but that's what they claim. And so I thought, to keep him quiet this morning, I'll write a paper. So I wrote a quick paper with all the standard stuff to explain why Gosport is not a unique station in the sense they seem to be claiming. Well, it's unique in this way. All the stations around Gosport always report lower temperatures than the station at Gosport. Big surprise, isn't it? When they use electronic instruments and the whiff from a helicopter could increase that extreme temperature and break a new June record, isn't it? That's how the world works. So the paper exposes it and just goes through it scientifically, if you like, but easy for anyone to read. There's no great depth of science to this. Just the air temperature, just the wind speed alone at Gosport wasn't enough to ventilate the box. So you have a gauge in a getting hotter box, as it were.
So what he was saying was that they measure, the instruments they use is like in a box, and they record them on airports or heliports. And when he's in a whiff from a helicopter, what he means is from the turbos and the engines, it can travel for like 500 yards, half a mile down the runway. Once it goes in that box, it records that heat. Yeah. And also, he goes in another video, explains that they get these little mini cyclones from the heat off the tower that blows into the boxes as well. And that measures the heat. Very interesting guy, Paul Burgess. Go to his website. Not his website.
It's almost like they've chosen a place where they can get the hot temperature from.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah.
I can't believe that. Almost.
No.
Sorry, that's just absolute. It's a conspiracy theory.
No, nuts.
Yeah. We've got hose pipe bands.
Already?
Yeah. It's done nothing but rain.
Well, you shouldn't live up here.
Yeah.
I mean, you watch Southern Shandy Swimmers, and it still rains a lot down there. Let's get rid of this. Get rid of him. I mean, this covered two areas. This one, it has a bloke called the baby living in fear. Yeah. I mean, it sounds a lot of stories that. Listen, somebody said to me the other day, BBC, I said, our state-owned TV, you know, like if it's Iran, it's state-owned propaganda TV, or Russia, or any of these other countries. But over here, I think BBC is just this friend, they call it anti-bead, don't they?
No, it's wearing a democracy, they're not.
Bugger, you know about that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the constant fear of living in an overheated home with a baby. People do believe this nonsense, though, you know. It's frightening. Yeah. People do believe it.
Well, I mean, that's just BBC fact. We're about all the social media stuff. You know, we don't need to look at it. They're absolutely travels through it.
Oh, yeah, 100%. So, a couple of weeks ago, they said 1,300 deaths across Europe because of the record heat temperatures.
It really says linked.
Yeah. It does, doesn't it?
Yeah. It doesn't say that it caused it.
No.
Anybody could link anything to anything if you tried hard enough. Yeah.
So this guy, that same guy, did another video. It's quite a long video, so I'm not going to play it all. 17 minutes long.
Yes, I'm referring to the 1911 heatwave. That was pretty well worldwide and a real heatwave, because today, despite what you're being told, we have less extreme weather than we did back then. Now, droughts and heat waves go hand in hand. Yep, I think one has to accept that. Now, my previous work has shown this. I mean, the biggest one we've ever known about in the UK is the 1765 to 68 one. 40 months of drought. Not 2 or 3 days, 40 months of extreme hot weather. 1784 to 1787, a major drought, a multi-year event. And then 1998, oh yeah, that actually scored fourth. A notable modern one, that one. And then we go on to the 1933 to 35. And that occurred in a very hot decade, the 1930s. And then 1975 to 77, that's what we know as the 76 drought. We know that, it's well known, I've referred to it many times. I was water resource engineer for Wales at the time. 1942 to 1945 was a mid-20th century event, and that was a drought. 1780 to 1782 was an early historic drought. 1921 to 22 was a big one. That was a significant one. And 1844 to 1846. So you can see, if you want to go for the worst events, whilst you can have an occasional modern one in there, like the 1998 one, basically there is no pattern showing you that it's worse today than it was in the past. If anything, it was much worse in the past than it is today. So that's just an overall view without going into great detail.
Yeah, I mean, the agenda is obviously to tell us that the climate is changing, and that's what we call it, climate change, don't they? But it's just so deceptive that the climate's always changing, it always has been changing, constantly, it just comes in cycles. There are events called ground solar minimum and ground solar maximums, and we're just about to enter a ground solar minimum, you'll be pleased to hear, which means that the temperatures are going to cool considerably for the next 50 years. So, you know, that'll see me out. But yeah, I mean, what they're really talking about is man-made climate change. You know, climate, but they kind of conflate it with just climate change, which is so deceptive, it's just ridiculous.
And environment, they're mixed with environment as well.
Yeah.
Environmental damage from like BP or something like that.
Yeah.
But he was saying that in 1911, the heat wave in 1911, which was a proper heat wave, not just 2 or 3 days of hot weather, killed 40,000 in France alone.
So what's the definition of a heat wave?
Well, again, it's been changed. They call hot weather heat waves now. It was a long spell of heat with no rain, wasn't it? The heat wave.
It means whatever they want.
Yeah. Like a lot of these things. Yeah. But you'd be happy because it dropped this week, apparently, the weather. It's really pummeling stories. I don't even read news, and it's not difficult to find these stories. Another heat wave could be on the way. Is everybody scared?
But it could be.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to escape. I'm going to Greece. You have to get away from this terrible heat and go to Greece when it's 45.
It is funny, like Matt said, when you said to people, we've got the fortune to go on holiday forever like this.
Yeah.
People just stare at that.
People had jabs so they could go.
Good call, Tom. Maybe that cooled them down. Maybe. I've seen people with parasols walking out like it's 1850.
Like inside sail.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is the guy's YouTube channel, Climate Realism. He's got some really interesting. He's not into. It doesn't sound like he's into anything that we might discuss other than this, which is why it's more believable, to be fair, in my opinion, anyway. But yeah, have a look at his channel. He's got put some really good videos on there. He writes a lot of blogs as well.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, a lot of people just concentrate on one particular element of the grand conspiracy, don't they? Whereas we kind of tend to look at every aspect. Not that that makes it better, but I'm just saying some people are just focused on one particular topic. Yeah, it's fair enough.
So this was 1911. For 70 days, from July to September 1911. 41,000 deaths in France alone.
What's that figure? What's the real figure?
Yeah.
I mean, that's
That could be bullshit. I'm not saying it's true, but what was true was that there was a wave of heat for 70 days in comparison to us having 3 days. Whether it killed anybody or not, it's sort of irrelevant, isn't it? Well, not unless you died from it.
I remember sometimes when we were kids, it was hot all the summer long. And then at the end of it, towards the end, this band House House. But it was hot, sunny, or, you know, everyone had t-shirt. Everyone had t-shirt marks.
Mum used to put me in bath, he'd be stinging like that, wouldn't it? Yeah.
And the snow drifts. That was extreme weather when snow drifts were up to my bedroom window when I was a kid.
And you did live in a bungalow.
Not in a hobbit house.
Let's watch a video of him.
Bringing you some breaking news now coming out of France about that heat wave that we're seeing here, but has been very much present in Europe as well. France has recorded its hottest day ever on Tuesday amid the heat wave. Now, that's not the highest temperature, it's the hottest day. So the average of temperatures across the day, measured at 30 weather stations across France, hit a new record of 29.8 degrees Celsius. The previous record was 29.4 degrees Celsius. That was August 2003. So this is the average temperature throughout the day in France. Of course, the highest.
Yeah, well, let me explain something. When you're measuring temperature, it's not that simple. Let me explain that. The temperature inside what we call a Stephenson screen has to have 1 meter a second of air passing through it. Yeah,
right.
And it doesn't. You see, on a hot day like this, it doesn't have that. It has about a fifth of that, and that can overread by a few degrees. They don't allow for that. Right. Secondly, they always quote the hottest temperature at airports. Yeah, and that's because of the urban heat island effect. So you're lucky if you're accurate to within 2 or 3 degrees.
Yeah.
And then today we record digitally, which gives a higher peak than we used to record with the thermometer. I was water resource engineer for Wales in 1976 when we did have hot temperatures. And if you're going to take the average, I've actually produced a graph yesterday showing that if you take June, July, August, the summer, right, 1976 was much hotter than our record 2025, much hotter throughout the whole period. And so, first of all, you can't take isolated temperatures. They're meaningless, absolutely meaningless. And secondly, if you're going to take the group temperatures like that, fine, then compare them to the past properly. And in this case, we're nowhere near the 1976 period when we had day after day after day over 30.
Anyway,
we got the ambassador for.
Yeah, it's got no better to do with the bullshit.
I did notice on the bit of news I saw was it just that's my fault. Sorry. I did notice when I did watch a bit of news, they were just going around asking people, "Are you hot?" And they're like, "Yeah, it's horrible, really hot." That's all. That was the news, wasn't it? Just going around talking to folks saying, "Are you hot?" "Yeah, I'm boiling. It's horrible." That was it. Fucking news. Excuse me, Fred.
Anyway, I thought I'd put a few slides together there.
Talking about?
Talking of France. Excuse my French.
Oh, right, sorry. I thought they didn't reveal about France chef.
So when you see a guy who's a proper scientist, an honest scientist, showing you that the actual heat waves, they're the drought that actually happened over the last few hundred years, not what we've seen. You see the same sort of figures for, say, vaccination status, as in where they showed measles dropped when they give the vaccine out, when in reality it was already right at the bottom in 1960s.
Brian Cox.
But what do you think of that Mike Graham? Does anybody watch that Mike Graham?
Who's Mike Graham?
I used to.
Yeah.
I used to watch him a lot.
Yeah, he is, yeah.
Why was that?
He's another one like that, Nick, I'm too fast to get in a Ferrari.
Oh, right.
Yeah, you're shy. So I take it you don't like him.
you want to mention what is it? What you got on?
Crack on. You got no, that's it.
No, I was going to say, I was listening to, did anyone see the hearing in America about the MK Ultra thing?
Yeah, no.
It's mental. I don't know, it's all going mainstream, isn't it? Every conspiracy's going mainstream. They're doing a hearing about MK Ultra, and they had, what's his name?
Tom O'Neill.
Tom O'Neill.
Tom O'Neill, yeah.
So they're basically saying everything us lunatics have talked about. And they're legitimising it, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, Tom O'Neill's the guy that wrote Chaos. I don't know if anybody's got this book. Very interesting book, isn't it, Matt? And I suggest anybody want to go out and buy it because it's
basically
it took him 20 years to write it. And he got access to police files about the Manson murders. And basically all the stuff that we sort of discussed over the last 20 years about it being part of MK Ultra and all this, he actually found a lot of the receipts for that information. And now, 5 years after he's written the book, there's a Senate hearing.
Yeah.
I think it's a Senate hearing.
I think it's
On actual MK Ultra. Now that follows on from 40 years ago when they had the Senate hearings at the end of the 70s.
70s.
It was church Senate hearings, I think, weren't it? Yeah. Where they admitted that Lee Harvey Oswald, for instance, wasn't on his own shooting JFK. There were actually another 2 shooters, apparently, even though nobody ever talks about that. Even though that's probably bullshit as well. But
I watched a bit of the Senate thing, and they were admitting that Jack Ruby was MK Ultra by that guy went to.
Oh yeah.
Literally admit.
Yeah.
Jack Ruby was a CIA asset.
What? Yeah. So a lot of these, like the weather, or like weather manipulation, they're now. I've got a video. I didn't put it on here actually, of somebody standing up in Parliament asking, I think it was Keir Starmer or someone in the Labour government, why we're spending so much money blocking out the sun. They're actually talking about it in Parliament. You know, it's only 2 weeks ago that somebody sent it. And a lot of other stuff they're talking about now, discussing.
Is it the big reveal?
No, you know what it is? I think they get to a level like a plinthal line of people finding out information and they have to acknowledge it to control the narrative.
Yeah, I agree with that, absolutely.
There's something else coming because
there's always something else, isn't
there? The fact that they're revealing it's like, why are they doing that?
I don't think they've any option because, like the Epstein files, we haven't been told anything about that, even though
you've still got. He's still gone mainstream, hasn't it? The fact that the world could be run by satanic paedophiles, and now MK Ultra's in the mainstream. It's getting very weird, isn't it? What do you think, John?
Yeah, I don't think MK Ultra has ever been denied officially, as far as I'm aware. But yeah, it is absolutely coming out more and more now. And I mean, I can't see anything coming from it personally.
I was going to say, do you think it's the fact that everyone's been so trounced in MK Ultra by 2020 that no one will actually give a shit?
Yeah.
They'll actually be that.
Yeah, it'll just be a 9-day wonder or whatever, you know, and it'll just be discussed and then it'll just
back to the weather.
There's certainly a lot of information coming out. I mean, I did a podcast with Piers there. I don't know if anybody remember the podcast we did a couple of weeks ago. Piers Cross behind you there. Yeah. Piers and his friend did a film called Boarding on Insanity about boarding schools, basically trained the future leaders and traumatized them. So basically, leaders that became narcissistic psychopaths, if you like. And he's got some great guests on his podcast explaining how they've had to change their lives and stuff like that. The film's great as well, so have a look at that. Yeah. In fairness, I should have probably got Piers up with the mic, actually. If you want to, tell them about your film. Do you want to or not?
Sure.
Yeah.
I watched what you did the other week, Piers, with the ex police guy on. The police guy was admitting that he was narcissist.
I'll sit over there. Wherever we can sit down over here. So, what was the basis of the film? How did you get to start?
So it's basically about my own boarding school experience. So I went to boarding school from age 11 through to 18. And on the surface, I thought, oh, it was a success, it went well, I went to business school, worked in the city, in London, and then I had a breakdown. I was homeless, and as I started to unpick everything, I was like, actually, it was boarding school. And then I realised I'd been, I knew this, but I'd kind of pushed it down, I'd been sexually abused. One of my friends had committed suicide, jumped in front of the train. And
this was while you were at school, wasn't it?
It was, yeah, I was 14 at the time. And, basically, after my friend committed suicide, we were sent to the priest and he sexually abused her. And so, yeah, it was after that that I was like, so that's how the film began, sharing my story. But as I was starting to do research, I started buying all these biographies. I realised there's so many powerful, influential people in the world to be to boarding school, and most of them have had horrific times.
And that's how we met, because she's sitting on Matt Devlin's podcast, talking about my book with Tony Blair and Boris Johnson and what have you, and the trauma that they went through. And I always say, I have to feel sorry for them as children, because no child has to go through that, regardless of what background we all come from. No child has to go through that type of trauma at school, being put in a boarding school for that. That's traumatic enough. Yeah, at 6-year-old. But yeah, so yeah, take note of Piers Cross's the Evolving Man.
Yeah, the podcast called An Evolving Man. I've spoken to people like Charles Spencer, talking about his abuse at school, psychiatrists, clinical psychologists, and yourself.
Yeah, I'm none of them. Thank you. Probably went quiet on that. We're going to end this stream now, actually. We'll carry on talking here. I hope you've enjoyed that little interlude there, but we're going to say bye now.
Try!